Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Iron United's YouTube channel. Wow. We have just come off another defeat to Watford at Vicarage Road in David Moyes' first ever game as West Ham manager. Tonight I'm joined with a regular face, Dan Fangols, and
Fandangos.
Fandangos.
It's alright.
Yeah, Dan, come on, was there any positives to take from today's game?
For me, there weren't. It felt like same shit, different day, didn't it? It was kind of like same shit, different manager. Nothing had changed for me. Moyes was like Bilic in disguise today. I don't want to dig him out too much. First game in charge. The players didn't turn up for him, but no, there was no positives whatsoever from that performance. It was just woeful, wasn't it? Woeful.
Listen, the lead up to this game, we've been seeing all the positive messages, all the positive videos from the media team, and like you said, and right enough, like you said, we can't dig out Moyes too much here. No. But what we have to do is we have to start digressing the game and thinking about what went wrong. So first and foremost, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what was your thoughts on the team selection?
I probably would have gone with that team minus Carroll. But that's just me. I don't really fancy Carroll, do I, at all? But yeah, I probably would have gone with that team. Maybe played. I probably wouldn't have played with wingers the way we did, though. I probably would have played with Lanzini in behind, maybe Martinez and Arnautovic, or Saka and Arnautovic. That's the only thing I probably would have changed. We were struggling with injuries. Obviously, it's well documented. Reed even had to play because of that. But then, why can't Rice play? If Rice is good enough, why can't he play?
Yeah, but see on your point there, Dan, like, we're struggling with injuries. Like, how many players are injured? I think we've done this earlier on, 4 or 5. That's it. That's not that bad for a top.
Yeah, but I think it's the centre backs, isn't it? It's the centre back situation is the worst part of that. And obviously, Reed's just played in his World Cup qualifier against Peru. He's had to fly back quite late. Why are you risking that? And Moyes even said, before the game kicked off, we wanted Reed to have another couple of days rest, but it didn't happen. And if you got someone like Rice, who has proved that he's good enough, why not just give him a go? What is the worst that can happen? Because at the end of the day, we Rice or Reed, we still potentially could have been beaten 2-0 the way we were today. It doesn't really matter. But at least you give him Reed that chance to get fit. And Rice has already proved this season he's a good player. That doesn't make sense to me. There is some odd team selection, and already we're saying that in Moyes' era, we had it under Bilic, and it continues. I think he trolled us a little bit with the promise of youth, with them being on the bench, and that didn't really happen. But yeah, if we're both being honest, we probably wouldn't have picked much different teams, would we?
I mean, you know me. I'll be completely honest. I would have chose a completely different team because I think you've got nothing to lose. You're a new manager. You're playing with a team. Okay, you need to let players prove themselves, but what a way to give impact to a new team selection. You've been giving us quite a lot of information over the media. Players have been playing well. The youth have been playing well. And these players are coming up, sitting on the bench, and for me, I just wanted to see Martinez play. I just think, like, you're consistently scoring. I don't care if the other 23 got beat last week really embarrassingly, like, because years and years ago we didn't really care about that. But the point is, like, he's been scoring, and he's on fire. So he just needs to be given a chance. And then just thinking, when I see him on the bench, I thought there was some positives somewhere. But I looked at the team and I thought it's just the same team. It is the same team, probably playing the same formation, which was kind of.
We were forced into a couple of changes, unfortunately. Obviously, Ayew was taken ill. Yeah. I think I can't pronounce that other lad's name who's been playing in the under-23s as well.
Silbanovic.
Yeah, he was taken ill as well, weren't he? They were supposed to be involved in the matchday squad. It didn't happen. So yeah, obviously we know Ayew's been in pretty good form recently. So that was a big miss for us, but. It was just disappointing. I looked at the team though, and I was concerned straight off the bat with the midfield. There was a need for pace, and there was no pace in that midfield.
Yeah, and we've had.
They were essentially 3 holding midfield players. Essentially,
yeah,
it doesn't work.
It's the biggest. I think that's the biggest frustration as a West Ham fan is when you see those 3 names on the team sheet: Obiang, Kouyaté, and Noble. Like it's just a carbon copy of each other. Like they all just. No wonder they're all getting confused, because they were getting confused. They're all the similar type of player. Like, and I absolutely praise Kouyaté to the guns. And I feel kind of sorry for him, because I think like we're not playing to his strengths. Personally, we're not playing to his strengths. He can't play with those guys beside him. He needs that trickster. That I mean, like you said, that there is no pace in the team either. There's no one that could create. Well, Lanzini can, but it can't just leave it all to him.
But then Lanzini gets lost because he's being shoved out on the wing, and that's not his position.
Yeah.
His position is to float behind that striker across the pitch from left to right and sit in behind. That's because that's what you do. Look, Liverpool do it with Coutinho. All the good teams, they do that. They've got that one player who's got that free role, that playmaker role, and that is what he was great at when he first joined the club.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't have that leeway. He's stuck out there on the left wing, and it doesn't suit him, and that's why he gets lost in the game. When you're playing free holding players, that's not good for anyone, because none of them players are aware of when they need to go forward, because subconsciously they're wired to sit back. You see it so many times with Noble and Obiang today, just sitting in, and then the ball gets lost, and there's massive areas of space where there should be players picking up that loose second ball, and they weren't doing it.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
I think like if we kind of progress up the field and we think like the first minute of the game when Carroll made that challenge again.
He didn't fancy it.
Yeah, nothing,
he did not fancy it today.
But there was nothing indifferent between that challenge than what he did against Burnley compared to today. For me personally, it's all about we were all pissed off with him for sending off against Burnley, because he got a yellow card for a challenge and then he repeated the challenge within a minute. So of course you're going to get sent off for that. But for today, I don't see anything wrong with that challenge. But then from the minute that a couple of bad tackles came in, we just sat back off again, and I really expected something different, especially with a new manager. And we had a quick chat before we came on, and we can't really blame Moyes. We can blame Moyes for some things, but the players have got a lot to answer for today, because it was boring. It was really, really, really boring. Like, I mean, you've got something to say on that. I think you've been seeing some video clips of people sleeping and stuff. Like,
well, like I said to you, like before the game kicked off as well, I said, I don't want to. Before we came on here, I said I don't want to dig Moyes out too much. My reason for that being is he's only been there, like 2 weeks, and it's going to take a while for him to get his ideas across to that team. The thing I was disappointed with the most is that team did not turn up. Right, usually when a new manager comes in, you expect a performance out of that team. You expect a performance out of the players, because they've all got a point to prove. They are all trying to fight for their starting, place, and not one of them players, barring Arnautovic, because I think he started to really grow into the game. Barring him, none of them are rubber stamped for me to start next week.
Yeah.
I just don't think they are. I just don't think any of them put in a good enough performance to say to Moyes, I'm your man, you can rely on me, this is what I'll do for you. I just don't think it was good enough from any of them. I expected a reaction and we didn't get one.
I think we all expect a reaction when you've got a new manager, and then you see all the stuff that I think we need to remind ourselves, and for us, I know a group of us were like, we weren't falling for all that media stuff that was going on. Like, it's very clever, you can play a game, you can let us see what we think you want us to see, and it's nice to see, but we are realists at the end of the day. We are West Ham fans, and we know we've got a certain team selection. And for me personally, when I look at the team selection, I wasn't thrilled, I wasn't motivated. I was only motivated or thrilled with the fact that there was 3 youngsters sitting on the bench, because none of those players have really, the ones that started today, have really proven anything to me this season. So I thought it was time for a change. But anyway, let's talk about the game. Let's go into the game, and I mean, who was your standout guy for Watford? Because I tell you what, we had no standout guys at all.
I'm not surprised Watford did that job on us, though. Obviously, you know full well with my channel, I watch all of the Premier League and I talk about all the teams, and I know how well Watford have been doing this season. So I'm not surprised at all that they turned us over 2-0 today. But I think Will Hughes was the man of the moment today. He was unbelievable. Like, I know a little bit about him. When he played for Derby, he's had a couple of serious injuries, and they brought him in. They brought him in for next to nothing, and I think they brought him in for about 5 million this summer. Have you seen the recruitment at Watford, by the way? Did you listen to the commentators? They're right back coming for nothing. They bought in Decore for about 5 million. They bought in Will Hughes for like 5 million. They bought in They bought in Richarlison for next to nothing, 6 million. I think they spend quite a bit of money on Gray, but English strikers, they tend to go for overpriced. But what a performance that team put in! What a performance! Like, they play some really silky stuff. I've said to you before as well, that manager's the one I wanted. That's the manager that I wanted the board to get rid of Bilic in the summer and go after him. Because he, like Moyes, got relegated at the end of the last season, but he got relegated with his head
It wasn't really. I mean, was he in charge all last season?
He was in charge of Hull. last year.
But was he in charge the whole season?
No, since I think it was like from January.
But I think the record from January nearly saved him. Yeah,
it was ridiculous. I think he lost one game at home.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I tell you what, though, like we were watching the game, sitting watching the game with my dad. Unfortunately, couldn't go to the game, and I mean, the standout player was that Will Hughes. I mean, he's come from the Championship. It's only his second start for Watford, I think it is. I mean, I'm just trying to look here and see his age. I mean, how old is it? He's 22 years old.
Yeah, he's only in his early 20s.
So there's a youthful English player dictating the game against West Ham, whose age of the squad is rising left, right, and centre. We've got 3 youthful players sitting on the bench. They're looking at Watford and they're thinking, why are they getting a chance? Yeah, okay, he's played games in the Championship. Yeah, he's been reasonably successful. He's had bad injuries. But those boys sitting on the bench must be just thinking, give us that chance, give us, we can just ignite your season. This is what we need. I tell you what, Dan, every time that Will Hughes got the ball, he was everywhere. He was everywhere.
Yeah.
He looked like the Brazilian superstar that Richarlison, who played really, really well, wanted to be that day because he totally deserved his man of the match. And this isn't a Watford channel, but wow, I mean,
I was impressed with him. Yeah. Tom's Cleverley, for instance, has been the bane of many English fans' jokes.
Absolutely.
For many years. Look how well he's doing at Watford. Under the right manager, under the right tutelage, he deserves an England call-up.
Can I tell you something about Tom Cleverley as well? See, there was one corner that happened in the game today, and the biggest thing and the biggest problem I see with West Ham is sometimes when we're taking set pieces, that when the opposition go to clear the ball, there's never our West Ham player there to fight for it, to get it back. But see, today Tom Cleverley put his head in the line against something like Kouyaté Ogbona's foot. Like he just wanted that ball, so he went full in, head first, just trying to get that ball just to win it, because it was a determination. He had the grit, he had the passion for the team. And I tell you what, I'm not a fan of Tom Cleverley, but after today, you can't help but have to see what he was doing. The whole team destroyed us today. Like we were boring. We had nothing. We could give anything.
Yeah, it was very boring.
Yeah.
If there's one word I can use to describe that performance, it was boring.
Yeah, absolutely. So we go on to the first goal. God, what Will Hughes won it. I mean,
don't get me wrong. There's a massive element of luck that they've scored that goal. Air shot and the ball just wobbles to him. Good finish though. Can't take that away from him. It's a quality finish. But what are we doing at the back?
Yeah.
What are we doing at the back? It's awful.
It's all over the place. It's and do you know what? Again, I know I may be calling this guy out, but I'm calling Ogbonna out. I'm calling him out because he's not fit enough to play in our team. He's not the defender that we think he is. He's absolutely not. Now I know it's not just his fault, but I mean, you're not going to be filled with much joy if your name's Winston Reid and you're looking to your right or your left and you're seeing Ogbonna or Font. Like Ogbonna is out of position all the time. He's not making the right decisions. He's a calamity. He's making mistakes. And for me, I do. I mean, it was that goal was a prime example of West Ham defending.
Yeah.
And if they've been doing that in training and nothing's changed, that's because for me personally, there's a couple of player changes that needs to happen. And you mentioned it earlier on. Declan Rice, he needs to come in. He needs to step in. He needs to be given.
He's been brilliant every time that he's been given an opportunity, whether it be playing in that holding midfield role or playing at the back. He's done really well. He made a couple of little minor errors. He made one. Was it against Newcastle? He made an error against Newcastle. He got dug out for that, and then he made a minor one against Spurs, and we haven't seen him in the starting lineup since.
Yeah.
In the cup, and I just don't think that's right. What sort of message are we sending to the kids that one mistake and you're done?
Yeah.
It's not right. He's good enough. I think he's good enough. He's really has shown, a very high level of consistency for such a young player, in my opinion, and he deserves a chance more so than some of these other guys. I think Font at the beginning of the season was really growing into it, but he's done for 3 months. Like you say, Ogbonna not good enough, really not good enough. No, and there was a couple of times today with Ogbonna. He was obviously told to man Mark Gray because Ogbonna does cover the ground quite well. There's one thing he does do: he's quite quick for a centre back and he covers the ground quite well. But he was leaning on the striker so much. There was a few occasions today where I thought he was going to give away a fucking penalty.
Exactly. And I don't think you were the only one. Like every single time you're weighing your heart and your sleeve with him. Well, you just. Your head's dropping, you're thinking, please don't go down, please don't go down.
Yeah.
Because if anyone had gone down, he's such an awkward defender.
I think Gray was a little too honest today.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
That's what I was going to say, because I think if you go down against an awkward player like Ogbonna, you're probably going to concede get a penalty for your team. So, I mean, at half time, it wasn't great, and I thought at that point it would have been nice to see a substitution. It would have given us maybe a little bit of a spark. For me personally, and I put this in our little kind of chat we've got, and for me personally, I wanted to see Noble come off and Martinez come on to give Martinez and Carroll a bit of a chance up top.
Yeah.
But what we saw was no substitutions, no real formation change, and then it kind of led to Watford's second goal from Richarlison. Yeah. Like it was coming. It was inevitable. Really,
it was a prime example of what I was saying as well, where the midfielders really didn't know where they should be. Yeah. There was so much space when Will Hughes picked that ball up.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, "Oh, the handball and whatnot," but no, it's bounced up. You can't help that. Yeah. With the way your arms move, the motion of his hand is just bounced
up. You can never take that. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it could have gone anywhere, that ball. But yeah, then it's not good enough from both the defenders, Reed not getting across quick enough, and the full-backs forward. But come on, like we've been defending him, but that was poor from Joe Hart.
Yeah.
He should have done better with that shot. Yeah. He should have done better with that shot.
Yeah.
And
I think like, listen, we've got Joe Hart fans, Adrian fans, etc. He should have done a lot better, but then again it comes back to the same old argument: is he happy with what's in front of him? And yeah, he's a professional footballer, but at the end of the day, I mean, how many chances did Watford have today? It's inevitable. You have 40 chances, you're probably going to concede a couple, especially if your name is West Ham. So
yep.
And they've got the right attitude. You just keep hitting the ball, hitting it on target, or making chances. I mean, I can't even remember the Watford boy. He was big, massive centre midfielder, just kept taking shots from out. Never made any on target, but he was taking chances and he was threatening our defence at all times. So yeah, Richarlison came in, scored that goal, 2-0 West Ham. Really game over. The only thing I thought was, this is the time where we, with no pressure, you give a bit of the youth a chance now and get a bit of experience, and we didn't see it, and we just seen
same old substitutions.
Same old substitutions, swaps, Carroll for Sacco, leaving the forwards isolated again. That's the biggest issue we've got. Dan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is a massive issue. I'm very quick to dig Andy Carroll out and say how bad he is and stuff, but any striker today in that situation would have struggled. Yeah. He was massively isolated at times. My issue with Carroll is that he takes any life out of our attacks. Yeah. I know we're boring to watch at the minute and we don't exactly go forward the quickest, but sometimes he'll take the ball out of the air and there'll be runners, and rather than find them, he wants to take 2 or 3 touches. It's so fucking annoying, and he just destroys any element of momentum we have with that attack. He does it all the time, and I have to criticise the wingers because he won a few headers today, good headers, but no one was bombing on to support, and it was massively isolated. He does a lot wrong, but he does do some stuff right. But the stuff he does right is not supported by the rest of the team.
And just before,
and I just don't think. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Just before he came off, I clocked, and I think again I said it in a message to you guys. I was like, look at Moyes. Moyes was going when Carroll got the ball, or when he was trying to track back. Moyes was going stay, because he wanted Carroll to stay up top. But my point was, that's fine saying that, but there's no one there to support him, so he's going to win the headers. He's going to have a few knock-ons, like you said he did, and there was no one there to win it. And I was just like, oh my god, this is where you need Hernandez. This is where
painful.
It's really, really painful. And then in the midfield, there's no creation, and it's just like, what is going on? What's going on?
The only time we've ever played to Carroll's strengths is when we had Nolan.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've ever played to Carroll's strengths properly.
Yeah.
You know, because we had a player who was intelligent enough. Like Nolan might not have been the best footballer, but he was intelligent enough to know where to be, when to make the runs.
When have we actually ever really, in the most recent years, played to anyone's strengths? Like,
oh no,
we have ability, we have great talent in that team. Well, supposedly, and we're not playing to anyone's. Because for me, you look at it and you think, as an outsider, we put it in our preview show this week. You look at. I mean, for me, I don't know what Obiang and David Moyes, the video they put out of them working together, and I'm a big fan of Pedro Obiang. But today he thought he was Xavi Alonso from Bayern Munich day, wherever he was, Real Madrid days, Liverpool days. Like, he's getting the ball, turning and trying to spray the ball across the park, and every single time he wasn't getting the ball, the final ball. So it was just really frustrating from kind of start to end. It's totally left me just speechless, to be honest. And I think we were saying, and I mean, what's it like being a West Ham fan just now, Dan?
Painful.
Yeah.
Depressing. You know, like both me and you were questioning whether or not we're going to renew our season tickets,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want people at home watching this to start accusing us of being plastic fans either, because they will straight away jump on the bandwagon of these two only want to watch us when we're winning. That's bollocks, right? Because we're both old enough. You know, we're older fans who have watched us through worse eras than probably this. You know, we've had season tickets for many a year, but it's got to a point now where I don't want to line the fucking ball's pocket anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it is. I don't want my £800 to go to them anymore.
Yeah.
It's cost me a lot of money to go over to football, and at the end of the day, this football club is not giving me anything back anymore.
Yeah.
It's dead as I knew it. The club's dead as I knew it. It used to be a family club who were a smaller club for the family, who used to beat the big boys every now and then, punch above our weight, and now it's just a fucking shit show. It's an absolute horror show.
Let me get this right, guys, for anyone that's watching. I am not anything like clickbait. I am not looking for the attention. I don't believe a lot of comments that are said online. I'm just telling you as it is, as a West Ham fan, from the heart. Like, how can I physically be happy when there are... I'm basing it, and I'm going back the way, I'm basing it on promises and promises and promises and promises, and all I'm seeing is negatives. Like, we are in a relegation battle. Like, today it's really sunk in for me. Today, for a long time before, today's really sunk in. We're in a relegation battle, and I genuinely really fear, Dan, I know you 100% believe it's happening, but I think we've got a really strong possibility of getting relegated. Because Dan, what is this? The next games you've got in it?
I think we're going to be in the Championship next year, based on our run to Christmas, which is massive. We all know how important that is. There's only one club that's ever been in there at Christmas and survived. You know, bottom of the league, because I think that's where we're going. In the next few weeks, I think Palace will start to get ahead of steam. Played well at the weekend against Everton. Everton are starting to get, you know, a little bit of momentum as well. I think the clubs down there with us are starting to really turn a corner, and we're not. And I honestly think we will be bottom at Christmas. And then that's a real fucking worry about when you're thinking about staying in this Premier League. And I pulled the fixtures up because we were going to talk about this. But our next few games, mate, we've got Leicester at home next week. Then we've got 2 away games against Everton and City. And Everton have starting to turn a corner, and City are destroying people.
Which I'm going to, and I really don't know if I want to go to.
Jesus, mate. And then after that, we've got Chelsea and Arsenal at home. Yeah. Stoke away. Yeah, Arsenal away in the Cup. And then we've got Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, and then on New Year, we've got Tottenham away. Tell me where in those fixtures we are going to pick up points. You look at City destroying people. Chelsea look like they've turned a corner. You know, struggling at the beginning of the season, but you know, Hazard and Morata are starting to play well together. You look at Arsenal. You'd never know what you're going to get from Arsenal, but they did a job on Spurs yesterday. Who expected that? You know, I've already touched upon Everton, turned the corner. Leicester, maybe a little unlucky this weekend against City because maybe Company should have been sent off, but they played some good stuff. And they do. Newcastle were competitive. They got turned over by United, but, you know, that's to be expected. Newcastle have already beaten us 3-0 this season. There's nothing to say they can't come to our ground and beat us 3-0 again. We've got the worst home record.
I think
it's just not good enough.
Yeah, no. I think for me personally, the only thing I want to see, like, I need to take the season as it comes, and I think the next game against Leicester at home, we've got to get the 3 points. It's inevitable. We've got to go and get the 3 points. But I think in order to get 3 points, we need to see it with a team that we actually want out, or maybe a few of the players to come in, like Declan Rice, like Martinez, maybe Ayew's back. Like we need that challenge in that team, because you know what? Again, if we win with the current team that's out, it's just painting over the cracks again. There needs to be some big changes there, and I really hope Moyes is taking on board what he's seen today from the players and just got, do you know what? Like, you need that kick up the arse, because that's coming. That is coming, and it needs to happen. And like you said. I mean, season ticket, the way it's going, and God no. I mean, to be honest, I think I've pretty much made my decision anyway, and I think.
Yeah, and I don't want people thinking I'm not going to renew if we go to the Championship, because we've been down there twice before, and I was a season ticket holder both times.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with where we are, what league we're playing in, right? It's got everything to do with the promises that have been fucking broken. The lies we've been told. It is my decision on renewing is based solely on the ball and the shit that we have to watch. All right, because I've already touched upon it. the West Ham that I knew were a smaller club who used to punch above their weight every now and then. But even when we lost, and I'm sure you will agree with me, Iran, through the years, even when we lost, they give 110%.
Yeah.
And the last year and a half, 2 years, we've done anything but that. Anything but. Since we moved to this new stadium and this board, already they've got this massive fucking ego about, well, we got this shiny new stadium, and it's fucking bollocks, mate. And they promised us this and promised us that. We got none of it. And as a result, the football club's just doing this. And eventually, it's just going to fucking implode.
Yeah.
And it's just not the club it was. And that's what my decision is about the season ticket.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 70-30 not renewing.
Yeah.
Even if we remain in the Premier League, if at the end of the season it's still not entertaining, the board are still doing the cunty acts that they are, I will not be renewing. And it's solely based on that.
And I don't even need to give you my opinion, because it's exactly the same as you, to be honest, because I'm not stupid now. I'm not a stupid idiot who just believes anything that's said. The comments that come out it's just like, we're not mugs. We're not mugs.
We're not the only two either. We probably both know die-hard West Ham fans that we talk to on a regular basis that feel exactly the same way we do. Give it 5 years, that ground will be full of tourists. None of the diehards will want to go.
I tell you something, and the worrying thing is, if we do get relegated, is what's going to happen next year, because my words, out of pure and utter protest, I think they're going to struggle to fill that stadium if we go down now. And I know we can do another video for this coming up, but
what will be interesting, I just want to add this before we do wrap up shortly, right? What will be interesting, right? Do you remember Gold and Sullivan coming out and they did that whole thing, if 90% of fans don't want us to be here in charge, we'll sell the football club. What will be fucking interesting now, right? And they cannot sit there and at any point say they didn't hear it, because we could hear it watching the game on the telly, right? The fans were saying fuck off to the board, Brady, you fucking cunt, and all the rest of it. There was banners, there was all sorts, there was protests, right? Now, if the board sit there and say they didn't see or hear that, it's bullshit. They did fucking hear it, right? And if they don't take notice of it, there's another promise that broke. Because they can clearly see that us fans don't want them there anymore. We've made our feelings very, very clear. And if they try and sit there and say, oh yeah, but the fans are happy with us because we did a poll, fuck off. It's bollocks. I'm not having it no more. They can see how unhappy we are now.
They've done a poll for our logo. They've done a poll for the stadium. So why don't you just do a little cheeky poll on your website to see what the fans are saying, and just see what happens. Like, there's no harm. You don't have to go if you don't want to. Like, you're the decision makers at the end of the day. But do you know what, Dan? As a West Ham fan right now, listen, I'm trying to stay positive. It's really tough to stay positive. I don't know where the next victory is coming from, like you said, with all the victories coming up. Positives are Hernandez is on his way back, Antonio's on his way back, but we were sitting there today and at 1-0 was just no confidence coming from our team. Like, and even if we, like I said to you, if we'd equalised in the last minute, I would have celebrated as a West Ham fan, as we all do. But how do you express your feelings? Like, it wouldn't have been the same as what it would have been 3 or 4 years ago. Like, I would have been really over the moon and over excited, but it's just constantly painting the cracks, constantly painting over the cracks. Yeah. And to be honest, it's really a struggle to actually sit and talk. And I know that may sound controversial because we're sitting doing this channel, but it really is. Like, I don't know what else you can say.
You find it, I don't know if you are, but I'm finding it quite hard to come on here and talk about it at the moment, because I feel like when we finish, I want to go and cry myself to sleep. Yeah. It's because I fucking love the club. Yeah. I'm not just sitting here. I don't sit here for the views. I sit here because I want to talk about the club, and I want people to share with us in the comment section and everything how they feel about the club. Yeah. If they've got the same opinion as us, that's why we do it. Yeah. We want to build like a little community where people feel safe that they can come and talk about West Ham and stuff. Yeah. And we're both passionate fans, as are the other guys that are involved in this channel. We all feel the same way. Some have differing opinions on certain things, but the ultimate feeling at the moment from all of us, and I'm sure West Ham fans as a whole, is that it is fucking depressing. It is hard work at the moment to be a West Ham fan. It's hard work to get behind this team.
And even your dogs think they are as well.
Yeah, even they're fucked off. They were both asleep during the game, no surprise.
Oh God. Listen, West Ham, are we in a relegation battle? 100%.
And I'm sure the people in the comment section below will let us know how they feel about it as well. It'd be nice to hear what they think.
Yeah, please do, guys. Listen, this has been the Watford review game. It's not been great. I'm sorry for being as negative as what we are.
We're sorry we're sending you into your working week.
Yeah, but do you know what? Like, just please make sure you comment. Listen, any of you want to come on, let us know. Contact us. Like what Dan said, we're a community. We want to do it as much as possible. Make sure you follow Dan's YouTube channel as well, Fan Dan Goals on YouTube. We'll put some links in the description below. Make sure you obviously subscribe to our channel. And yeah, we will be back with a Leicester review, and hopefully we'll have a special guest, someone you'll know very well. So keep your eye on the channel. And yeah, unfortunately, West Ham, we go to bed disappointed West Ham fans again. The roller coaster continues, and we are on the way down on a really steep hill, and we're just sitting right there over the top, looking over, going, oh, to the championship. So yeah, I've been Anton, that's been Dan, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Peace.